Hello. I'm trying something a little bit different for me and doing a live stream, which is kind of interesting. But I just wanted to talk about something I've been thinking a lot about lately, which is rekindling my love of singing. I think over the last couple of years, everyone's kind of had struggles with COVID and all the craziness that's been going on in the world, and the arts is obviously uh, no different from all of that. So I just wanted to kind of talk through that kind of thing. I'm going to sing a song as well that I've written, and yeah, hopefully we can get something happening. So I mean, for me in singing, I had so much wrapped up in like the meaning of what music is and the meaning. I grew up singing in church, and obviously there's a lot of meaning behind what you do in church, and there's a lot of substance to the music that I grew up with. And as you grow in your singing skill, and as you grow in your journey as a singer, there's only so much of that. I mean, obviously congregational singing is quite what's the word? I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's a very like, it has to be available to the masses. So as a singer, there's only so much skill that you can kind of push while still keeping it right for a congregational kind of setting. So I think for me, my journey in singing was really about going out and finding other places where I can sing and grow my skill and grow my talent and kind of discover more music. So I looked into all kinds of things. Musical theatre I really loved. I mean, musical theatre is one of those mediums that certainly has a lot of meaning, has a lot of substance. But I think one of the challenges in musical theatre is that it's the shows that really have the most amount of substance and the most amount of good in them, or no, just a lot of meaning in them and a lot of substance to them, and not necessarily the shows that are the most popular shows. So obviously the most popular shows are often the most feel-good shows, and the ones that are a little bit more, I don't know, dark and thoughtful aren't necessarily crazy popular. Wicked is an incredibly popular musical and has like meaning and substance to it, but it's not quite as heavy as something like Next to Normal, which is an intense kind of show, right? But it's has a lot of substance to it. So so musical theatre is great, and I love musical theatre. I'm not a particularly good dancer or actor, so that's challenging in that respect. But I love musical theatre, and musical theatre has done wonders for my vocal technique and what I've worked on as a singer, and it's been amazing in that kind of vein. Country music has been something I've been exploring lately, and I love country music because someone once said that the country music is three chords and the truth, and so that idea of just writing a song and kind of putting your feelings and your emotions into a song is a really interesting concept, and I really like that. And I was drawn to country music in that kind of way. But country music is interesting. It's interesting because it has this other side of it, which is all about jeans and trucks and beer and whiskey and whatever. Like, there's an element of country music that's not necessarily all about substance and emotion and all that kind of stuff. Even coming from the land, or stories from the land, or stories about people. And so I think that's an interesting thing. So that my journey of finding meaning in music is that's for me one of the biggest kind of elements in my singing and in my music, and what I really want to try and achieve. It's not for me just about money or commercial success or about being the best or anything. It's really about telling stories and doing something that other people can listen to music or listen to my music and go, yeah, I feel that way too, or I feel at home in that. So, you know, I mean that's where my journey's been. You know, so as a songwriter, then that's when I've kind of delved into my songwriting. And if you've watched any videos on my channel, then maybe you've seen some of my original songs. And you know, I sing about my own self doubts. I sing about my own struggles and all that kind of stuff. So I think songwriting has been a really big thing for me, and has helped me kind of find that meaning. But I think one of the challenges of especially being an original songwriter is trying to get that traction and trying to get people to listen to original music can be quite challenging. I don't know if anyone out there is writing original music. It can be really challenging to get that music out there and get that music happening. So I think for me as well, my connection of I love singing, a singing technique as well. I've spent a lot of my career as a singing teacher. So my singing teaching has been the thing that brings in the income for our family, and I've taught now over 20,000 singing lessons in my life in various forms and in various settings. But 20,000, that's a lot. I mean, for someone of my age, I'm 37 now. For someone of my age, that's a lot of singing lessons to have taught. But I love combining the two skills of singing technique and of writing, and trying to marry those two things together in order to find a unique kind of style for myself. And it also then helps me to get that meaning that I've been searching for in different styles of music, but then truly making it my own, rather than just rather than being a restatement of someone else's music, which I also love. You know, musical theater is actually one of those really interesting things of singing something that someone else has written, and they've written it in such a way that they are trying to tell a story. And so I really respect that, especially as a songwriter approaching musical theater as a songwriter. You start to see those little bits and pieces that those writers are doing, and it's incredible to me what they're able to achieve, because they obviously write in a bit of a different style. I write in a very folk country kind of style, whereas they're writing in a theatery kind of style. But that emotion and the way that they write a melody line, or the way that they write a progression, really impacts the way that someone sings. So I think for me, marrying all of those elements of myself have been a really it's been challenging, but it's been a real big realization for me. And so, but I think it's also taken me on this path of just going, it's just hard, and it almost seems like too hard, and just like it's just almost put me into this negative kind of state. And I wanted to kind of talk about this in case there were other people out there that are feeling the same way as me, that that are also trying to spark something. I think through the whole pandemic, it's been hard, especially for someone like me who loves community and loves being with other people. We had some pretty big lockdowns in Sydney, which is where I'm from. It was challenging to find that community and have that connection. Actually, a lot of the songs that I'm writing on my a lot of the songs that I've been writing on my album were written over stream, and were written over Zoom with another songwriter. So that was an interesting kind of thing. Andrew Ward. Yeah, songwriting can definitely be very cathartic. I agree. It's definitely one of those things. But again, it's challenging, even though it can be really helpful for you, and it can be really a good process for you. It's a challenging thing to get out there. So it's almost a not a two-edged sword, because you want to write songs that people are going to listen to. You want to write things that are going to impact people, and you can just write it for yourself. But I think there's always that feeling in ourselves that we want. It's not even that we want other people to just love what we do. I mean, for me, so much of what I do, I just want people to feel like that someone else has gone through the same kind of thing. Like it's almost a relational. No, relational is the wrong word. It's almost like someone else has gone through the same thing, so it's an empathy kind of thing. So, I mean, I guess the current state of the music industry and the way that Spotify has kind of reduced the amount that you can earn from recorded music, that's become a challenge, especially in original music. And so for someone like me, I have a family, I have 3 kids, I have a wife, I have a mortgage, I have to pay for that somehow. And so teaching became a really big part of it. And when I first started teaching, I loved just digging into the technique. I've read so many books and so much about singing technique. And so I have a good knowledge and good understanding of that. But I think my passion for that has somewhat diminished over the last little bit, because it's not necessarily been the thing that I wanted to do solely. I want to be singing. I want to be creating music. And so teaching being my main source of income was great and fantastic, but it wasn't necessarily everything that I wanted to be as an artist. Andrew, yeah, that song that I wrote about my father-in-law, I tell you what, I think this idea that music is completely has to always be a feel-good kind of thing. I mean, that was one of the toughest songs I've ever written. If you haven't heard it, the song is called "Kind of Man," and it's a song about my father-in-law who passed away from pancreatic cancer a number of years ago, and that that was a really challenging time, and it was a really, really tough song. But I think a lot of people have experienced that. The people who experienced loss of someone who meant a lot to them. And so, that song is actually a great example of something where you can relate to, someone, and you can relate to a situation and feel like you're not alone. I think that's a really strong element, especially for my own writing at the moment, which is really important. Yeah. So I guess the idea of creating my own music and figuring out where to go with that has been my journey over the last little bit. Moving on from teaching and moving on from doing what I've been doing has been a bit of a challenge for me, because there's a lot of self-doubt that goes around that, because you go, am I good enough to actually get out there and do it? Are people going to like what I do? Do I have enough of a personality to kind of get my music across, or is it, I don't know, do I have enough of a marketing brain to actually make it happen? So I think that's been a really an interesting part of my struggle. Now I want to sing a song for you that I wrote that's called "Here I Stay," and the interesting thing about this song is it's an example of a song that you write at a given point. It's not a song that is it's not a song that encompasses my entire life and the way I feel. Those moments where there's just a time in space, because it talks about it's funny because it's almost like I'll just give up. But that's not really how I feel. But it is at times. There are times when I just go, oh, why bother? I'm just gonna stay where I am right now and not even question this anymore. And because it's easier to stay. The line is, it's easier to stay. It's easier to hang on. I don't even know what the words are. It's easier to hide It's easier to hide than do nothing and to take a chance. Just to stay here where I am and accept that even if I try, there's no guarantee that I will succeed. There's no guarantee that things will change. So here I stay. and the song doesn't even turn around, right? Like there's no happy ending. It's all going, woe is me, and this is too hard. But it's funny because you write these songs, and it's never that you feel like that all the time, because you go, oh, I love writing and I love people, and I feel like there is success, and I get to sing on stages and I get to do things. I have opportunities, but I don't know. There's times. So I'm gonna sing this song for you. Have a listen to the words. See if it's something that you can relate to. Let me just take a drink of water, and I'll set my guitar up, and we'll sing this song. I've spent my time doing the wrong thing. Now the wrong thing is taking all of my time. If I knew then what I know now, I would have made a different choice. But it's easier to hide and do nothing than to take a chance. Just to stay here where I am and accept that even if I try, there's no guarantee that things will change. There's no guarantee that I will succeed. So here I stay. I've spent my time trying to make a change, but the changes never seem to last. I wish I was better at turning my life around. But it's easier to hide and do nothing than to take a chance. Just to stay here where I am and accept that even if I try, there's no guarantee that things will change. There's no guarantee that I will succeed. So here I stay. But it's easier to hide and do nothing than to take a chance. Just to stay here where I am and accept that even if I try, there's no guarantee that I will succeed. There's no guarantee that things will change. So here I stay. So you hear what I mean? The the song kind of ends very, very definitely, and going, I'm gonna stay here and not go anywhere else. But I think part of my idea of doing these live streams and doing what I'm doing here is actually starting a journey of moving beyond that point and kind of going, no, I want to do something, and I want to join with other people, and I want to create a community. And I mean, the biggest hope for me is that my journey is actually going to help other people move forward in their journey and create and write and, create music that comes from them and comes from a place that wants to add to the music scene, not just to have success and not just have fame, but to be real and write music that is, impactful and meaningful and that kind of thing. BJ, mate, how you doing? I haven't seen you in ages. How's all the dancing going? I've been loving the videos that you create on your channel, man. I love the humor that you do. It's fantastic. So I mean, I guess the journey that I'm doing. Let me just kind of unpack that a little bit, because I've already been doing it, right? I've been creating an album lately. I've vlogged a bit about it on YouTube. I'm not great with being really consistent on a platform where I have to edit lots of videos and make it kind of happen. And so I figured this live streaming way of doing things is probably a much better thing for me, because I don't have to edit it. I can just get up and talk about it and do it that way. And I can sing songs and I can interact with people who are here in the stream, which is, it's great to see some people. I mean, Andrew, we've already connected, and you show me your songs. I love the songs that you've been working on. And BJ, mate, it's been great working with you in the past in your singing, and it's been, it's cool to connect with people, and I love that kind of thing. That interaction has been amazing for me. So I've already kind of been doing some of it, right? But it's but the moving forward, I need to make that decision just to kind of push ahead and just keep doing something. So I want to keep writing more and kind of mixing that with my recording and mixing that with my teaching and kind of looking at the way that singing technique and recording and writing and all of those things kind of mesh together to create who I am as an artist and who I am as a YouTuber or as a creator. So I think that for me is this journey that I'd love to go on, and I want people to come and join me on it, and I want to share your journeys as well. So I think that's a big element for me. So I guess the way you can join me is watch the live streams, share your stuff with me, send me emails, send me stuff. I've got my website up there. There's a contact form that you can send that to me through, or you can comment on these videos that we're doing. You can ask questions. I mean, like I said, I know a fair bit about singing technique. So if you want to ask questions about singing technique, I'm all for talking about that. I love singing technique. I love recording as well. That's a big passion of mine. I'm not a Grammy award-winning producer or engineer or anything by any means, but I certainly love the process of recording, and I'd love to, talk with people about that. I mean, I love music, even just listening to albums. I got actually an idea that I had to work on these streams. My mother-in-law gave me for my birthday, which was last week, a full collection of the Beatles albums. So I'd love to kind of listen to all of those and share my thoughts on what each of those Beatles albums is. That's not something I've actually listened to a lot. The Beatles is not something that was a big part of my childhood, so it will be something fairly new for me. I know a bit about the Beatles, and I know a bit about their music, but it is certainly not a big thing for me. So ask questions about any of those kind of things. I love that kind of thing. You can like my videos and subscribe to my channel. One of the other things that I'd love to get happening as well. I've got we can do Zoom calls, and you can book a session with me. Obviously, that costs a bit of money, but that helps me to feed my family and to get things happening. We don't have to do a singing lesson. We don't have to do anything. We can just talk about technique. We can talk about recording. We can talk about music. You can share yours, and I can share thoughts or whatever's kind of going on there. So you can book a session with me, and we can just talk about creative stuff and just kind of connect in that way. I'd love for that kind of thing to happen. So yeah, I mean, that's my kind of thing. I don't know if there's a couple of people watching right now. I don't know if you have any questions that you'd like to ask. I'm happy to. BJ, the struggle of dance and choreography and kind of moving forward in that space can be really challenging, especially to if you're as you grow up, you obviously have a family to provide for, or there are times when you need income, and that can be a real challenge. And trying to mesh the creative output that you desire versus the things that are actually commercial can be a real challenge. And I think that's something that a lot of creatives have to wrestle with. The idea of doing something that is just purely for money or for a commercial kind of output versus something that you just want to create as a creator, something that you've been inspired by. And if those two can mesh, that's great. But that seems to be becoming less and less of a viability. And a lot of the music that is on the radio, or a lot of the productions that do happen, are really about feel-good moments, so much more than it is about substance and about community and about coming together as people. And so I think that's a challenge that we as creatives really have to face, and that's a journey that I've certainly been on, learning how to do something that I love and make it financially viable, as well as creatively fulfilling and creatively engaging. And I think sometimes we go, oh well, what have I really got to add to this space? What have I really got to certainly that's a thought that I have. But what you have to add to the space is definitely your own voice, your own experience, and those experiences other people feel and other people share. And I think those experiences, while not necessarily create a lot of money, or they don't necessarily create a lot of fame and success like they have in the past, they're still meaningful, and they still are worth creating and putting out there. And that's definitely a lesson that I'm trying to learn in and of myself. The music that I'm creating and the stuff that I'm creating is not just for myself. It's not just for fame and fortune, but it is for community and for meaning and for substance and all of these things that I really value as a creator and as a person. And I know there's a lot of people out there that also feel that same way. So, yeah, fantastic. Well, very good. I think I can end it there. But I think the thing I'd love for my next live stream is if anyone has questions, especially if you're watching this post when the live stream happened, if you have questions about anything that we talked about, so technique, recording, music, singing, creativity, any of those things, I'd love you to ask those in the comments of this video, or shoot it to me on my website or Facebook or Instagram, whatever. I'll see all of those things. So if you want to ask any questions about anything related to singing, music, writing, recording, any of those kind of things, I'm happy to answer. If you want to share some music with me, I'm really happy. Something that I could do on these streams is look at people's music and reflect on it live. I don't know if I'm confident enough to do that just yet, because this live thing is fairly new for me. But we'll we'll get there for sure. It'll be a journey that we can all go on. So thank you all for the people who've been watching live. It's been absolutely fantastic. And oh, by the way, the track that you heard on the very, very beginning of this stream is one of the tracks off my album. It's got a very country kind of flavor in the steel guitar and everything that you can hear. I'm going to play a little bit more at the end here so you can get a bit more of a flavor for it. And I'll catch you all on the next one. See you later.